And we welcome you back to the CNC Auto Show. We are at the Coffee and Cars event here at Carolina Dragway, and this is so exciting. I've been able to talk to such nice people. I'm here with Jim Pate, and Jim has been talking to a lot of people also. We have just been having a great time. We got just a lot of different people here to talk to, and one includes Mr. Dent, who I think they call you Mr. D. Is that right?
They call me Mr. D, call me Mr. Dent. They just call me
Mr. Dent.
Right.
And how long have you been a fan of drag racing, or how long have you been actually in drag racing?
Since 1957.
57.
Right. We built this track in 57.
So you were here when they built the track.
Right.
Wow. What got you into drag racing?
Well, I was a round track car man, but I couldn't drive a round track car.
Uh-huh.
So I went to drag racing.
Uh-huh.
And I could drive it.
Uh-huh.
So I raced till 1960.
If you got just a second, give us a little history of what you've done as far as when you first got into drag racing, and how you got into announcing drag racing, and then let us know how long you've been announcing racing.
Well, in 1960 I ran Super Stock in NHRA, and that year I ran 65 times and won 162 of them. Wow. And I grew up on crutches, and I never had girlfriend. I had girlfriends.
Uh-huh.
But when I was winning races, I had a girlfriend for a Thursday night race, girlfriend Friday night race, girlfriend Saturday night race.
Uh-huh.
When I sold a race car, I sold the girlfriends. I got transferred to North Carolina, and
Uh-huh.
when I was in North Carolina, I came back, and I went up to see Junior Steve, which owned the track.
Uh-huh.
He said, "Hold this mic for me. I got to go to the bathroom." He hadn't never come back yet.
Uh-huh.
So I've been holding since 59 years.
Yeah. I remember that name now, Junior.
Right.
Because when I was a kid and I'd run up and down the track from
Right.
time to time, never did get heavy into it or anything like that. I wanted to,
Right.
but I just had to work all the time,
Right.
so I wasn't able to. But I remember that name, Junior
Right.
Steve.
Right.
That was the name I was trying to remember.
Right.
And so you at that point, you officially become the announcer. Is that right?
Right. Scared to death of it,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not scared anymore. Okay.
Well, and how long did you say you had been an announcer?
59 years.
59 years. I would say that you've probably gotten a little bit used to
I've
it
got
by
accustomed to
now.
the mic, yeah.
All right. That was amazing. Jim, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask him?
Let me borrow that. I'd like to know if you can describe for us what was being raced, what were their powertrains and so forth back when you first started being involved. And I guess it sounds like about the time this track was built, late 50s.
57. Back then, I was a Ford man, and I could not run Chevrolets. So I went and bought a Chevrolet.
Uh-huh.
And most of them were classic car, but then we had gases. We had stock, super stock, and had classes. We had, like C-gas, C-stock, A-stock, and according to what size motor they had in it. But anyway, then we ran by classes, and then we switched over to running bracket races, which are bracket races where the car dial itself in. And you've never seen this, but a bracket race, if you're a 7-second car and I'm a 6-second car, I dial my car at 7, 6, and you at 7. The computer will let you go first, a second. So consequently, if you run dead on 7, and I run dead on 6, the difference is going to be in your reaction time. And you add the reaction time to the difference in dial in, and that's the best that's going to win. It all depends on how you can dial your car. A slow car can outrun a fast car because a slow car is more consistent.
Well, I tell you, you are absolutely amazing. Now, do you mind if I asked how old you are?
I'm 85 years old.
85 years old, and you are announcing here on a regular basis.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what keeps me going.
And if I'm not mistaken, they put an elevator here for you.
They put it in just for me, and I told them when they put it in, I said, that's a lot of money for an elevator. I might not be around long. And said it right at one time it's paid for.
Well, I do know that they all think a heck of a lot of you because as I was talking to them, they said you have to talk to Mr. D. You need to talk to Mr. D.
Appreciate that.
And well, I appreciate you giving us a little bit of history of a track. A lot of people don't realize that this is almost like a family.
It is family.
From what I've,
it is family. I've got my family, which helps take care of me, and then I got my church family, and I got my racing family. And these racers, they love me, and I love them.
Yeah.
And they all good to me.
Well, that's the feeling that I get when I come in here. I'm talking to each person. Everybody has been just so nice to talk to.
Right.
And each one of them, it sounds like, wants to take care of the other.
Right.
And but I'm sure they're not that way when they're competing, are they?
When they're competing, well, their friends can compete, but the grudge racers probably get mad at each other, but the bracket racers don't. So,
well, they're friends, but they're competitive.
Right,
friends,
they're competitive, right?
At times.
That's right.
Well, I tell you, that has been a very good thing as far as seeing that, and it's almost like a different world for me because I knew drag racing, and I would see the people out there running. I'd see all the excitement and hear the cars, but I just I had no idea of the family behind it, or the way that everyone kind of worked with each other. Jim, did you have any questions for Mr. D?
Mr. D, what's the race schedule, either seasonally or yearly here? When can folks come out and see the action?
We run every Thursday night test and tune. That's on a regular basis. And then we run bracket races on Saturday and Sunday. These cars come from a long ways, and so we do a 2-race deal for one pool, And then we have big races also during the year, about 4 times a year. But I want to say one thing about drag racing. They came up with junior dragsters. Have you ever seen one?
No.
They can start running at 7 years old until they're 18. And you raise a child in a junior dragster, and I promise you, it'll turn out to be a good person, because they have to work on their own cars, and all that, and they're all families. And we normally on a bracket race we normally have about 25 junior dragsters.
Wow.
And I've seen people come up in junior dragster races, go to big races, and then they have a child have junior dragsters. So anyway, I've seen several generations do it now.
What is the most exciting thing that you have seen out on as far as either a car, a jet truck, or what's the most exciting thing that you've seen out there?
Well, the spectators love jets. And but anyway, we've seen a lot of exciting races. Period.
Yeah.
And I've seen 2 races where the computer had to call it in the 5th decimal place. They both have a perfect light. Run dead on the dial in, and they had to go to 5th decimal place to see which one won. And we have a lot of people who can do a perfect light.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of electronics.
Jim, any other questions?
No. I don't.
Okay, Jim's all fixed up. Jim has fantastic questions that he asks different people, so that's the reason I always ask him if he has any questions, because after when someone's gone, sometimes he'll mention a lot of things that I wish I would have asked.
I'll ask you a question. Is the surface the same one that's been here from the beginning? Is it always a certain composite, or has that been changed technology-wise?
We started off with rock asphalt, and then we went to concrete to the 1/8 of a mile. Then we went to sand asphalt from 1/8 of a mile to all the way to stopping here, But anyways, a whole lot. We started off with dirt. And somebody used to ask me, when you shift? I said, when I get straight enough. But anyway, it's come a long ways, and Jeff Miles did a lot, and then when Scott, and then when the man that owns it now bought it, he has done a tremendous amount of work here, and improving the track, and put a lot of money into the track. And I never will forget the statement he made to us when he first came. He said, "No money leaves the racetrack. Whatever the racetrack makes stays here." And he's done that.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, this is just a beautiful sight to sit here and see the drag race, the sun coming up, knowing that the cars are going to be running soon. And Mr. D,
Yeah.
it is such a pleasure for you to be here, and such
Glad
a
to
pleasure
be
for us
glad
to
to
get a
be
chance
here.
talk
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much. All right, we'll be right back after this. Drag strip through the window. They're doing the sweeping, and they will be bringing some cars out very shortly to run up and down the track. This is going to be a beautiful sight to see when we do that. And Jim, are we going to be ready?
Yeah, we just heard from some of the folks down on the ground that they're hopefully going to get a car or two off while we're still on the air. There's a lot to do to get it ready. But we've had one of the drivers up here, we've had the announcer up here, and we've had a member of the group down here that runs the show. So it's been interesting to learn about the backstory here, because you get to learn a little bit more by taking it slow like this when you've got a drag racer who's going to come up and tell you what they got, why they got it, instead of just being in the stands and watch it go by. But we'd like to see that part too.
Yes, we do. Now, I'm not sure if this phone system is working correctly because we are doing a remote and the system may, but I'm going to give this a try, taking in a caller. And welcome to the CNC Auto Show, and what can we help with?
Aaron, are you there?
Yes, we are here. I am sorry that taking longer. Our computers are they'll freeze for a minute and they'll come back, and I didn't know if you were there or not. And this is Ron.
That's right. That's right. Aaron, you must have Chinese chips in that computer. Is all I can think of.
It's got to be. That's got to be the problem.
Look, I really had a question for Mr. Rivers with Bo's Machine Shop, but I guess he's done left, huh?
No, we grab him. Can somebody dress out Michael? He's going to be back coming over here so you can he can answer.
And we just got to get him
question.
wired up so he can hear you.
Yeah,
like
we're
we
going to
can.
wire
It
him
just
up
takes,
where you can hear him.
It might take 10 seconds. Here we go.
Okay. All right. All right.
Well, in the meantime.
Oh, we got him here, Ron. Michael, are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got Ron on the line from Applin, and he had a question about engines.
Okay.
And you are the person to answer that.
All right. What's going on? What can we help you with?
Michael, the question I have is that you guys at Bo's Machine Shop, y'all rebuild all engines, correct?
For the most part, yeah. There's a few that, we don't, but we do machine work across the board pretty much.
Ron, that's
the
a
question
trick
I have
question,
now
though,
is
because, you might take
I know.
engine out of a ship.
Yeah, that's, like
or Briggs and Stratton off of my lawnmower maybe. But no, what I was asking about, I was curious. Back in the early 70s, I worked at a motorcycle shop in Atlanta, and we rebuilt Harley engines all day long for like a little over $100. And I'm watching this picker show the other day, and this guy just bought a knucklehead engine, just the engine. He paid $17,000, $500 for a knuckle. It was a 36 first year they come out with a knucklehead, but he said that it was going to cost between $5,000 to $10,000 to rebuild it. Why does it cost so much money to rebuild certain engines?
the big thing is parts are a large part of it, and the next thing is some of the engines parts aren't available, so you almost have to have them custom made and stuff such as that. So, and a lot of older engines like that, when you rebuild them, you actually build them back better than they were from the factory. So you're almost re-engineering some of the things on them. So that factors in sometimes too.
I got you. Well, tell me now, you looking to the future? Are you taking your men and training them to rebuild electric motors?
Not yet. We hadn't crossed that, but there's a lot of talk coming about that, and we're just going to have to wait and see how it happens. But I'm still an advocate for combustion engines and drilling for oil.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a
Me
combination
and
of
you
both.
too, brother.
Yeah, I like both. I love electronics,
Yeah,
but also I don't see any way that electric motors are going to completely take the place of all driving situations. And plus, I do like to hear an engine run
Well-
myself too.
Yes, sir.
Well,
I
look,
do
guys,
too.
I really appreciate Michael you taking your time, and I appreciate Michael you taking your time with me and going with that. One last thought: if you guys, I know Jim's big into asking questions as well as Aaron. For a lot of us that don't know much about stock car racing or drag racing, could you tell us a little bit of the wording, like what in the world is a gasser, and what is Mopar? And things like that. And I'll hang up and listen, guys. I really have enjoyed your show. Y'all have a great, safe weekend.
Well, that is a great question, and we will cover some of that.
All right.
Had to get Mr. Dent back for some.
Thank you, sirs.
All right, thank you. Okay,
I'm not 100% on what the gasser is. Of course,
I rode in one.
Mopar is your Chrysler products, but when I think of gassers, I think of the older like drag cars with the front end jacked up. Is that?
I think that's what I rode in, and they said it was a gasser. And on this track, I went down through there, and they were having a gasser event, and the gentleman asked me would I like to ride with him, and I jumped in, and it was an absolute ball. I took a video of that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was really neat to see. So, but we will. I don't know the other classifications. I'm just kind of. I knew that one only because I rode in one.
Well, I had a question about something you mentioned there. Real quick, we got less than a minute here. You mentioned when you have a hard time finding something for an obscure engine that you have to fabricate things. Do you actually fabricate hard machine parts, connecting rods or things like that if you had to?
I don't fabricate them. I have different companies that I outsource it to and let them do it. They have like various machines like your CNCs, and that's their deal is, of course, you pay for it, manufacturing whatever it is that you need. And then you got a lot of obsolete parts warehouses where people they go in these businesses that are closing down and buy these obsolete parts that at the time nobody wants them, and they pennies on the dollars, but they warehouse them for 15 years, and then somebody goes looking for them, and and when you get the parts in, it's crazy to look at. You just paid all this money for this part, and it's in this package that is just absolutely, it's original package from 1950.
Good.
All right, we'll
Thank
be
you.
right back after these messages. Thank you, Michael.